Welcome to Learning with Podcasts. I'm Michael, and this is where we explore fascinating stories from history, science, and culture while helping you improve your English naturally. Today's conversation is perfect for intermediate learners. That's B1 to B2 level, and we'll be discussing vocabulary, pronunciation, and key phrases throughout our chat. So grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's incredible story about the Ford Model T revolution.
Hey Michael, I was reading about the Ford Model T yesterday and I kept seeing people call it the car that changed everything. But honestly, I don't really get it. I mean, it was just a car, right?
Oh wow, Sarah, that's actually a fantastic question. And you know what? Most people think exactly like you do. But here's the thing, the Model T wasn't just a car. It was a complete revolution that transformed how Americans lived, worked, and even thought about their lives.
Really? Come on, how could one car model do all that?
Well, let me put it this way. Imagine if tomorrow something came along that cut the cost of your biggest expense by 75%, gave you complete freedom to go anywhere you wanted, and created millions of new jobs. That's exactly what the Model T did for America in the early 1900s.
Okay, now you've got my attention. But before we dive in, I want to ask our listeners something. If you're enjoying learning English with podcasts through these fascinating historical stories, please hit that like button right now. It really helps us reach more English learners like you. And if you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell.
Absolutely. We love creating these conversations for intermediate English learners. Now, Sarah, let me paint you a picture of America before the Model T.
So, what was America like before this famous car?
Picture this, it's 1905, and most Americans had never traveled more than 20 miles from where they were born. Can you imagine that?
Wait, seriously? 20 miles? That's nothing.
Exactly. People lived in small, isolated communities. If you lived on a farm, and most people did, you were basically stuck there. Transportation meant horses, which were expensive to maintain, or walking. Cities were crowded and dirty because everyone had to live close to where they worked.
So how did people get around for longer distances?
Well, there were trains for long trips, but they were expensive and only went to certain places. Most people simply didn't travel. Your whole world was your neighborhood, your town, maybe the next town over if you were lucky.
That sounds so limiting, and cars already existed, right?
Yes, but here's the key point. Cars were luxury items. They cost about $2,000 to $3,000, which in today's money would be like $60,000 to $90,000. Only wealthy people could afford them.
Oh my goodness. So cars were like expensive toys for rich people?
Exactly. They were handmade, unreliable, and there were hundreds of different companies making them. Each car was basically custom built. There were no standard parts, no mass production, MASS production. If your car broke down, good luck finding someone who could fix it.
So enter Henry Ford.
Right. Now, Henry Ford wasn't the first person to make cars, but he had a revolutionary idea. He said, "I'm going to build a car for the common people, a car that everyone can afford."
But how? If cars were so expensive to make.
That's where Ford's genius came in. He developed something called the assembly line. Instead of having skilled craftsmen build entire cars one by one, he broke the process down into simple, repetitive tasks.
Can you explain that more clearly? I'm not sure I understand the concept.
Of course, imagine you're making sandwiches. The old way, one person would take bread, add meat, add vegetables, add sauce, wrap it up. One complete sandwich at a time. Ford's way. Person 1 only adds meat. Person 2 only adds vegetables. Person 3 only adds sauce. The sandwich moves down the line and each person does just one simple task.
Oh, so it's much faster because everyone becomes an expert at their one task.
Exactly. And here's the brilliant part. Ford could hire unskilled workers and train them quickly for these simple tasks. This meant lower labor costs. Plus, he could produce cars much, much faster.
How much faster are we talking about?
Get ready for this. Before the assembly line, it took about 12 hours to build one car. After Ford perfected his system, it took just 93 minutes. Can you believe that?
93 minutes? That's incredible. And I'm guessing this made cars much cheaper?
Absolutely. When Ford introduced the Model T in 1908, it cost $825. But as its production increased, the price kept dropping. By 1925, you could buy a Model T for just $290.
That's amazing. So suddenly, regular working people could afford cars?
Yes. And Ford did something else revolutionary. He paid his workers $5 a day, which was double the typical wage at that time. People called it the $5 day. Other business owners thought he was crazy.
Why did he pay so much?
Smart business strategy. Higher wages meant happier workers, less turnover, and, here's the key, his own workers could afford to buy the cars they were making. He was creating his own customers.
So once regular Americans could afford cars, everything changed?
Everything. First, think about dating and relationships. Before cars, young people could only meet others from their immediate neighborhood. With cars, your potential romantic partners expanded from maybe 50 people to thousands.
Oh, wow, I never thought about that. Cars changed love and dating?
Completely. Parents lost control over their teenagers' social lives. Young people could drive to other towns, go on unchaperoned dates. It was a social revolution. Older generations were shocked.
And what about where people lived?
Huge changes. Before cars, you had to live within walking distance of your job or near a train station. With cars, you could live miles away from work. This created the suburbs, suburbs, those residential areas outside city centers.
So people started moving out of crowded cities?
Exactly. Families could have houses with yards, gardens, space for their children to play. The American dream of owning your own home became possible for millions of people.
What about shopping and daily life?
Completely transformed. Before cars, you bought everything from small local shops within walking distance. With cars, people could drive to bigger stores with better prices and more selection. This led to the development of shopping centers and eventually, shopping malls.
So the Model T basically created suburban life as we know it?
Yes. And here's something interesting. It changed how people thought about time and distance. Suddenly, visiting relatives in the next state was possible. Weekend trips, family vacations, exploring the country. All of this became normal.
And I imagine it affected women's lives too?
Absolutely. Cars gave women unprecedented freedom and independence. They could drive to jobs, social activities, shopping, without depending on men or public transportation. Many historians say the automobile was crucial for women's liberation.
This is fascinating. Before we continue, I want to remind our viewers, if you're finding this English conversation helpful for your learning, please give us a thumbs up and share this video with other English learners. We put a lot of effort into making these educational and engaging.
Now let's talk about the economic impact, because it was enormous.
I imagine the car industry created lots of jobs.
Oh, it created entire new industries. Think about it. Cars needed rubber for tires, so the rubber industry exploded. They needed glass for windows, steel for bodies, leather for seats. Gas stations, car dealerships, repair shops, auto insurance companies.
So it wasn't just car manufacturing jobs?
Not at all. Economists estimate that for every job in car manufacturing, about 4 or 5 additional jobs were created in related industries. We're talking about millions of new jobs.
What about roads? I imagine America needed better roads for all these cars?
Exactly. The government had to invest billions in new roads and highways. This created even more jobs: construction workers, engineers, road maintenance crews. And better roads meant easier transportation of goods, which helped all businesses.
So the Model T basically kickstarted the entire modern American economy?
That's exactly right. It created what economists call a multiplier effect. one innovation leading to massive economic growth across multiple sectors. The automobile industry became one of America's most important economic drivers, and it all started with Ford's Model T.
So, looking back, what's the real legacy of the Model T?
Well, Ford didn't just create a car. He created a manufacturing philosophy that changed the world. The assembly line concept spread to every industry. Today, everything from smartphones to hamburgers is made using Ford's basic principles.
And what about the car itself? Are there still Model Ts around?
Ford produced over 15 million Model Ts between 1908 and 1927. Today, they're valuable collector's items, and you can still see them in museums and car shows. But more importantly, the Model T established the template for mass-market automobiles.
How so?
Reliability, affordability, ease of repair. These became the standards that every car manufacturer had to meet. Ford proved that if you make a good product accessible to regular people, you can change the world.
Any connections to modern technology?
Absolutely. Think about how companies like Apple or Tesla approach innovation today. They take expensive, complex technology and find ways to make it affordable and user-friendly for mass markets. That's exactly what Ford did with the Model T over 100 years ago.
It's amazing how one innovation can transform an entire society.
And here's something for our English learners to think about. Learning English is similar to what Ford did. English opens up opportunities, connects you with more people, gives you access to information and experiences that were previously out of reach. Just like the Model T gave Americans freedom and opportunities they never had before.
That's such a great analogy, Michael. Learning English really does open up new worlds, just like the Model T opened up America for millions of people.
Exactly. And speaking of opening up new opportunities, if you enjoyed this historical English conversation, we have so many more fascinating topics planned. We're going to explore how the telegraph connected the world, the story behind Coca-Cola's secret formula, and how the internet was really created.
That sounds amazing. And listeners, this is exactly why you should subscribe to our channel. We're creating high-quality English learning content through fascinating, real stories. When you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you'll never miss our new conversations.
And please leave us a comment. Tell us what historical topic you'd like us to cover next. We love hearing from our English learning community, and your suggestions help us create content that's perfect for your level and interests.
Also, if this helped improve your listening skills or taught you new vocabulary, share it with your English learning friends. Growing our community helps us create even better content for everyone.
Before we go, remember, just like the Model T revolutionized transportation, consistent English practice will revolutionize your communication skills. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep growing.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Until next time, keep practicing your English.
See you in our next conversation. Before we finish, let's review some of the key vocabulary from today's conversation. Sarah, can you help me with this?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite parts because it really helps solidify what we've learned.
Perfect. Let's start with our main topic word, revolution. revolution. Sarah, what does revolution mean in this context?
Well, it's not about war or politics here. Revolution means a complete dramatic change that transforms everything. The Model T caused a revolution in how Americans lived and worked.
Excellent. Next word, mass production. This is a business term that means making large quantities of identical products using efficient methods, usually assembly lines.
Right. And speaking of assembly lines, that's when you break down manufacturing into simple, repetitive tasks. Each worker does just one job, but the process becomes much faster.
Great explanation. Now, what about affordable? And this is a crucial word for English learners.
Affordable means something you can buy without financial difficulty. It's reasonably priced. The Model T became affordable for regular working families, not just wealthy people.
Perfect. Let's talk about suburbs, suburbs. These are residential areas outside city centers where people live in houses with yards.
And we mentioned unprecedented. That means something that has never happened before. The freedom that cars gave people was unprecedented in human history.
Excellent. Now some useful phrases. We said multiplier effect. This is when one change creates many other changes. The car industry had a multiplier effect on the entire economy.
And remember, kick-started? This means to cause something to start happening, usually quickly and successfully. The Model T kick-started America's modern economy.
Great! Let's practice pronunciation of numbers. 15 million. That's how many Model Ts were produced. 93 minutes. How long it took to build one car with the assembly line.
And don't forget the time expressions we used. In the early 1900s, between 1908 and 1927, by 1925, these help you talk about historical periods clearly.
Wonderful. For our listeners, try using these words in your own sentences this week. Write them down, look them up if needed, and practice using them in context.
Remember, vocabulary grows through repetition and use. Don't just memorize. Practice these words in real conversations or writing.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of Learning with Podcasts.